Hey guys, welcome to Cody the Car Guy. We've got an HHR in the shop and we're having problems with the fans. So let's check this out. So right off the bat you can hear the fan is definitely making some noise, and so I pulled off the little cover, which is just two little plastic body clips right here. Pull them out of the way. And right off the bat I noticed the little brass looking shavings right there. That's pretty much from your bushing. And so the fan is not quite working the way it's supposed to work. And then the customer handed me this. So I'm like, okay, there's no screw marks on it. Well, by the time I looked at it, the way the plenum is designed on this, you gotta tear all this stuff apart. So they literally cut this out to replace it. Yes. So I have to MacGyver something. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this out. We're gonna 5200 it back in there and get it all back together. So let's go ahead and start getting this other one out. And as you can see, when you come down here, that is your fan right there. And there's no real bolt holes on there. So you can just imagine, to get to all that, you have to disassemble this whole entire thing. So now I see why they cut it out. But right where that ring is going around, we're just going to take a razor knife, cut that one out, drop this old fan out, and put the 5200 up in there. Actually, we're using the Atwood 7200, so it's a little bit, you can get that at Walmart. So we're going to go and use that and get it in there. So let's get this old one out. First thing you're going to do is pull the little safety clip on that and then pull your plug out. Now as you see, this is the old one I just cut out, and as you see, this thing is beyond gone. It's actually got a melted shaft up here, and you can see where they had sprayed lube in there, like, oh, we can lubricate it. Yeah, this thing was just gone. So we've got the new one that's right here. So we're gonna go ahead and put the 7200 on this one by Atwood. Get this back up in the car. We're gonna use a couple screws to kind of help hold it in place until the polyurethane adhesive pretty much seals the unit in there, but it'll be a little bit easier to replace it. But this is just a quick and simple way to replace this, because otherwise you gotta take out the entire dash. So let's go ahead and get this thing started to go back together, and once I get the 7200 on there, I'll show you it going back in. Alright, now one of the things you're going to want to do is get some screws, because these are going to come up beside, technically it's the housing. So, and it's going to like put it and hold it into the plenum a little bit better, especially while the 7200 is sitting and everything. So as you can see, they actually cut this one out exactly the same way. So one of the things you want to look for is this particular flat spot is only on one side. So you're going to want to match that up when it goes back up in the car, and that's up here on the front right here. So we're going to go and get the 7200 wrapped around it, get it up there, get a couple screws to help hold it in place, and you know, get it back in the car. But this one is actually a pretty decent looking fan compared to the other one. So let's go ahead and get it started. Now, one of the things you do want to look for just before you go ahead and put the glue on it, you want to go ahead and do a dry test fit, because if where they cut it out, if it's pretty much down below it, you want to make sure it goes up and is able to go up into where the old housing was for the plenum, and it didn't, so I had to trim it a little bit. Now that it'll go in where it is, the screws will actually hold it in place, and you're able to you have plenty of room for the 7200 to go in there. So once we get that on there, we're going to get it up in there, get a couple screws to hold it into place. You can also use duct tape to help hold it, but the screws I find actually work pretty good, especially get a little screw gun, do about 6 of them in there. That thing ain't going nowhere. Now as you see, I used 3 screws. Pretty much it's wedged in there pretty good. Once that 7200 sits in there, it's not going to go anywhere. I plugged in the plug. You can actually grab the housing, and I mean this, or the fan, and it's not going to go anywhere. So at that point, it's pretty much done. Let's go ahead and turn it on. Make sure everything sounds good. Let's see what we got. Anyways, for a quick fix, now I would recommend a brand new fan in there if you're doing all this work. But other than that, if you have to replace it now, it's actually a little bit easier to cut through the 7200 with a razor knife. Just remove the screws and you're good to go. So I hope that helps you guys on replacing the fan in the HHR. I'll catch you on the next one. 1159 videos. Out.